What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast, a video game show. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno to you as well. How are you this fine evening?
Well, I just had
this cool evening. We've talked about how hot it's been. Now it's actually cool.
Yeah, let's
Is it
actually
false
take
fall?
a second.
Who knows?
Notice
But
I'm wearing a slightly woolen vest.
really bundling up for
really
these cooler
bundling up.
temperatures.
Yeah. our thin Texas blood, we can't handle it.
That's right. We can't hang once it starts getting cold, although it feels so good, though. It's
gonna feel
It's a little humid still. Need this rain to go away, but it's feeling good.
I am really mad, though, because over the weekend, I finally went and got a car wash.
Oh, yeah?
And then it immediately rained, and I had to drive
Well,
through the
thank you.
rain
Then
to
you're
San
the-
Antonio. I guess, yeah, it's my fault.
It's your fault. You're the
I
one
brought the rain.
You're the one who did the washed car, and it's just the rules. The
Yeah,
rules are the rules,
it really
and the facts are the
is.
facts.
But that was the neighborhood where I saw the chicken. Oh. So it was
Well,
all
then it
worth
pays
it
off then.
just to see that chicken.
Well, thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Team Chat Podcast, a video game show where we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. New episodes come out on Thursdays each and every week, and you can listen to those on podcast services around the World Wide Web, as well as watch a video version of each episode over on our YouTube channel. You can also find us on social media at Facebook, Threads, and Instagram. You can also join a Discord server, our Discord server. We have a lot of great conversation when we're not here recording the show. And finally, if you'd like to help make the show bigger and better, just like Allison H., Ark, Brandon W., Bro Mogan, Super Saiyan Ace, Erica L., Elise F., James K., Michael B., Michael S., Snooty Boots, Susan M., and Zach S. have done. They have all gone over to patreon.com/Team Chat Podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show just like they are and get cool perks like getting the episodes early before their general Thursday release and access to a private channel on our Discord server, the Rogues Gallery. And we have lots of little extra goodies along the way. And we are also going to be bringing back this month our Team Chit Chat, which is where Mogan and I talk about a topic not related to video games. So if you have any ideas for that you would like to hear our thoughts on, something that you would like us to ponder, maybe the mysteries of the universe, let us know.
The current hot topic in the Team Chat Discord movies channel is whether or not the original Beetlejuice was good.
Oh.
My vote is yes, but somebody else had a hot take and they said that they did not like it.
I'm going to go ahead and say that it was okay for me. I saw it
what
too
a
late,
neutral
though.
middle of the road
I honestly
response.
it was not really I was not impressed. But to be fair, I watched it for the first time 2 years ago.
Oh wow, really?
So
recently?
it's one of those things. It's kind of the same. Here's another movie hot take for you. The little taste of what you get.
This
in
is
Team
some
Chit
free
Chat.
Team Chat. This is the demo. This
I'm
is
going to
Team
say
Chit
it.
Chat
Hot
demo.
take right here. Same thing. I saw The Goonies late in life. Did not hold up.
I
Did not for the first time.
yeah.
I saw it for the first time, and I was just like, I get it. If I saw this as a kid, I would love this. I did not, and I'm an adult, and it was okay.
I get the Goonies one, but I do like Beetlejuice. Like,
Yeah.
even on rewatch as an adult, I've seen that movie a lot of times. And now I get the added benefit of knowing that that's Moira Rose.
Yeah,
So it
Isn't
makes
that
it all
wonderful?
so much better.
That was fun when I did watch it for the
Yeah.
first time, because obviously I'd already seen Schitt's Creek.
Catherine O'Hara is my waifu for life.
She's incredible.
She's the best.
Although I will say, I watched 2 seasons of Schitt's Creek before it finally clicked that she's Kevin McAllister's mom
Oh my
in
God, Jarrett.
Home Alone.
That is so embarrassing for you. Do you have face blindness?
No, I'm actually very good at picking up people, but it was one of the things that
I'm very good at picking out people. He says as he doesn't
but
recognize
I'd only
Catherine
seen
O'Hara.
Home Alone.
And to be fair, she's not really in the movie that much.
Yeah, she's not in it that
mostly
much.
Kevin.
And it had been years since I'd seen it last
It's
time.
the
So back
burglars,
off!
it's the kid, it's the house, it's that creepy old man next door
Yeah,
that be actually the nice guy.
Yep.
Anyways,
The true hero of the
Yeah, the
story.
true hero of the story. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Movies. We talk about those over on Team Chit Chat, and so we like what we do with those. That is a tier for the $5 membership tier, and you just get those early, a week early before the general release. So check all that out, if you will. And if you don't want to support the show, can't support the show, that's totally fine. We completely understand. There are other free ways that you can do it, such as telling your friends, writing us a review on wherever you listen to or watch the show. All that good stuff helps get the word out there helps get the good word of Team Chat Podcast out there to the masses. A lot of T's in that sentence.
share it with your friends.
Share it with your friends. And for each and every one of our viewers, listeners, and patrons alike, we love you. Heart emojis. Thanks for being
Smooches,
here.
XOXO. I almost missed it that time.
Woo,
Jesus, you really
man,
snuck
normal.
it up
Yeah,
on me.
I threw in some extra conversation, kind of threw you
Goodness.
out off the roll. So, but we do have a lot of news to get to in this episode.
We do, and we also actually have a lot of games to cover real quick on the moment with Mogan.
Well, let's do it.
So a little bit of backtracking real quick just to earlier in the month. So in September, we have The Casting of Frank Stone out now for PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. Star Trucker is out now for PC. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions is out for PC, Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S.
And also a PS Plus title for the month of September.
Oh, interesting.
So if you have
what
PS
are the
Plus,
other ones?
I wasn't impressed with what they were, so I don't remember.
Okay, they
And I'm not
apparently
really.
were
Actually,
noteworthy.
I think all three of them. I was like, I don't think I'm going to get those this time. And
Gotcha.
Quidditch one included, because
Yeah, well, it's not really our jam. We also have Age of Mythology Retold.
Oh, yeah.
A very Jerrett-flavored game.
that one does look fun.
That one is out now for PC and Xbox Series X and S. What the Car is out for PC. Gimmick 2 is out for Switch and PC. And then as of this episode's air date on September 6th, we have the Ace Attorney Investigations Collection for PC, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. If I'm not mistaken, this is the collection of Phoenix Wright, well, just the Ace Attorney games, that I think predominantly feature Edgeworth as the main character.
Okay.
That I think this is the first time they're being released in the West. I think these were like
okay,
Japan-only titles for a long time.
that's
So
exciting.
this is their first time on the Western market, I think. Astrobot is out now for PS5. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 is coming out on September 9th.
That looks pretty fun.
For PC, PS5, and Xbox Series S and X. Right before we started recording, and I did a little gasp while I was looking at the list, it's because it was a misread. I saw the title Vampire
Oh,
the Masquerade, Reckoning of New York is out now for PC, is out on the 10th for PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch, but for a hot second I misread it and I was like, they're remastering Vampire?
That'd be awesome.
No,
I
that
would
is not the
absolutely
case.
play a remaster
Oh,
of
I
Vampire.
totally would. I'll just go back and play the regular one. It holds up. Go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry. Was there more?
Yes, there's a little bit more. Also on the 10th, we have Yars Rising for PC, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Atari VCS? Sure. Whatever that is.
Sure.
Towerborn Early Access is available now for PC only. Available on the 10th for PC only. I'm just thinking in the future. Persona 3 Reload, Episode Aegis, The Answer, DLC. God, that answer was that title was so long. Is out on the 10th as well for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S and S. And then rounding us out into next week, we have Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown for PC, Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S on the 12th. The Jackbox Naughty Pack. How much naughtier than the regular packs?
You just needed everyone's imaginations to make that game naughty enough.
I bet they're calling it the Naughty Pack, and it's actually still very kid-friendly.
Yeah.
That doesn't really seem like... I mean, obviously, it's as naughty as the players want to make it.
Right.
But I feel
it's
like
not
the
like you're
actual
starting off
content...
with like Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, it's probably not like, okay, let's figure out how all 10 of you draw penises differently. Like, I feel like that's probably not what it is. But, prove me wrong, Jackbox. Prove me wrong. That is out for PC only on September 12th. Hollow Body is out for PC on the 12th as well. And then we also have Lollipop Chainsaw Repop for PC, Switch, PS5, Xbox Series X and S on the 12th. And Wild Bastards.
Hell yeah. I want to play that just on the name alone.
We're a couple of wild bastards out here. So for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S on the 12th as well.
Very cool.
There's a lot of shit coming
Yeah, a
out
lot of
right
shit
now.
coming out.
Jesus.
But what I was going to say, I didn't want to interrupt the list, but I did start or have started. Speaking of Vampire, Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden. The Don't Nod
yes.
one. And I'm just going to say, like, I'm still playing through it, obviously getting distracted because of Star Wars Outlaws. But if you like Vampire,
You think so?
I think so.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear.
Yep.
Sold.
It's good.
It's literally all I needed to know.
I'm having a good time with it so far.
Okay. While you're playing Outlaws, can I borrow it?
Yeah, actually, that's fine. But yeah, so the other big bit of news, though, that we had to talk about, because this is an interesting story.
And it's cringe, and it's interesting, and it's kind of sad.
It is, well, I would say that yes, overall it is, I would say, sad.
Well, it's sad for a specific couple of reasons that we'll talk about as we discuss
Concord and it being no more.
I mean,
by the time of this, actually, yes, the day this episode comes out on Friday the 6th, Concord will be taken offline. Refunds are being issued to anyone who bought it on PlayStation and PC, and it's seemingly going to be no more after only being out for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Which is insane.
That's got to be a record, right?
I think so. Like, I'm trying to think. There was another game. I meant to do this research and I forgot, but there was a game that I want to think of. I do think that this is probably the record holder, but I feel like there was one, Battleborn.
Oh, maybe.
Way back when, like 8 to 10 years ago.
When it originally released?
Yeah, that I want to say that it first came out. And I want to say it came out, like there was a beta. I played it. It came out, and I want to say it maybe lasted a month, 2 months, and it was gone. Then there was another one, Cliff Bleszinski's game that he's the guy who did Gears of War.
Yes.
Lawbreakers. That's what it was.
Oh my God, I completely forgot about Lawbreakers.
That was another one that came and went in a flash.
Yeah, no kidding.
But still, I think Concord takes the cake in a lot of areas due to its incredibly long development time, 8 years.
8 years. They started developing. They started developing Concord pretty much right after Overwatch released.
Yeah.
So when people compare Concord to Overwatch, that's not entirely unwarranted.
No, because they're the same genre.
Yeah, they're the same genre. In a lot of ways, Concord seems to have been heavily inspired by Overwatch, or at least the hero shooter genre in general. So the similarities are very much there. But 8 years.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
But so this news was announced only a few days ago, September 3rd, in a blog article on the PlayStation blog by Ryan Ellis, the game director of Firewalk Studios, the developers of Concord. They say, Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star.
All 12 of you.
It really is, because
there
let's
are literally
not
dozens of us.
literally, because let's not forget that the big first number of that came out, a little headline that on launch day there was only or within the first couple days there were it launched. It was launch day, 697 players on Steam.
That is just tragic.
It's just it's weird. All right, wait. Let's get through this, and then we'll really dive into this. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. However, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, at this time, we've decided to take the game offline beginning September 6, 2024, and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, be getting refunds, blah, 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 and then it goes on to a little bit more of that. So that's basically it. They're saying other options. Do we think that there's a chance, because really the only option to this is that they pivot it to free to play. Do we think that could save it and potentially see a renaissance of Concord?
So this is actually the point that I sort of wanted to talk about of why I view this failure as particularly sad. Mm-hmm. Because you and I have talked at length about how we wish that Overwatch 2 had launched as a full-price game that was still a live service, because we would have preferred to just pay the price up front and then not have to deal with the Battle Pass.
Yeah.
That's what Concord was doing.
Yeah.
Concord was a $40 game, I
$40.
think? So a $40 game, not even a full-price game by today's standards. And it didn't have a battle pass.
Yeah.
It didn't have microtransactions, none of the spammy, shitty stuff that we rag on all the time here. So its pricing model was exactly what you would hope could succeed.
Well, and that we did see succeed, different genre, but did see succeed with Helldivers 2.
That's a good point.
$40 game. Another PlayStation, studio title.
Yeah. And
it released to wild fanfare.
It did.
And it does still include some microtransactions and battle pass, those things or not necessarily battle pass. You can buy, I forget what they call them now, but basically there are every once in a while they'll drop a new package of cosmetics and weapons and stuff like that. You can buy them using in-game. Yeah, you can use them, buy them using in-game currency. All the typical stuff. Yeah. But it's not like the Apex and Fortnite battle passes of 100 levels that you have to hit by grinding it out. So
part of what I'm sort of getting at here is I wonder if the fact that Concord was a paid game instead of a free-to-play live service game, I genuinely wonder if that actually sort of hurt its chances of being picked up by more people. I don't think there's ever, that's a what-if scenario.
Sure.
So we really can't prove it right now, but that also leads me to think those other options they're talking about, maybe that is what they're going to try.
Yeah, and this is the thing, that I think And I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. I think it definitely could have, because with what I think is one of the fundamental flaws of what happened with Concord, as opposed to the success that Overwatch saw. I think, Overwatch had the full price, his $60 game at the time, and then there were cosmetics or the loot boxes that you could buy on top of that if you wanted to, but you definitely didn't have to. Of course, it was including cosmetic items, skins, stuff that wasn't going to give you a benefit up in the game. It was just like stuff to have.
You could also earn in-game currency at a
right.
rate that made sense for you to eventually be able to purchase those cosmetics that weren't, exclusively paywalled to loot boxes on your own.
Exactly. But here's what I think. Because the only difference that I can really see is because, yes, maybe it's just the fact that the hero shooter has seen its days and people aren't as excited about that. But I will hold, there's also the new Marvel Rivals, Marvel Rivals, I believe is what it's called. Yes. That's also a new hero shooter that seems to be doing fairly well. So that's, interesting to see that it's doing so good. Play? I believe it is. But here's what I think is the problem. Concord was officially revealed. I think I did some research today. I went back and looked at stuff because this is what I think what really sunk this game is that it was a slightly bit of a blunder in how this game was marketed.
I do agree with that.
Because Concord was revealed officially in May 2023.
Barely a year.
So barely a year and change ago. I went and watched that announcement trailer. You see no characters in it. It is on board a ship that seems to be somehow unmanned, and you're just seeing random shots of it, but primarily focusing on like the kitchen and food cooking on a stove / a shot of a hamburger. And there's someone talking. You know
how those hamburgers in games really get you all jazzed up to play them.
It's like a Blur level video
of animation,
animation
by the
quality.
Studio Blur.
Yeah, sorry. And so you're kind of watching it, and I'm just like. And then you hear this voiceover as you're seeing the ship flying through hyperspace. It's like colorful version of hyperspace and stuff like that. And then it just says, "Free gunners, are you ready?" or something like that at the end. It just says Concord. That's all you know. We didn't see anything else about what this game was going to be until May 30th, 2024. When they released,
was it really that long?
When they released the cinematic trailer that we saw at a PlayStation showcase. Remember, it started off the showcase, gave us that full, again, Blur quality animation style,
very beautifully animated
cinematic trailer telling us the story. I remembered at that point seeing that. I didn't know anything about Concord. I didn't know much about Concord. I knew about it because, like I said last time we talked about it, I actually did apply for a video editing job with this studio. And so, I was like starting to kind of look around and see what I could find out about it, and just not a ton. And so,
man, good thing that job didn't pan out, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I still would have loved to have done it. I think that would have been awesome. But yeah, I don't think I could have taken 2 layoffs in 2 years' time. Because unfortunately, that's probably what's going to happen. But anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, so you saw that whole thing, and that trailer looked fun. It looked exciting. You got introduced to those three-ish characters, maybe a few.
Green man, big blue guy, normal human woman that's attractive because you got to get those gamers to really buy in.
And so that kind of looked like it was going to be this fun space adventure, and it was kind of like, I was thinking we're looking like a third person, like, I don't know, just open world kind of experience. And then in that trailer, they immediately follow that up with, it's a hero shooter. And I remember being like, oh. And it's coming out in a few months. But here's, again, I'm being really long-winded and getting to my main point. In contrast, okay, and then the game actually launched August 23rd, 2024. So from May to August, that is the only time that we had definite, this is what this game is going to be about.
They did a beta at some point, didn't they?
After this.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So in between March and August, they did do a beta and everything like that.
Okay.
Where obviously people got hands-on impressions stuff like that. I unfortunately missed it. I'd wanted to, but I think we were out of town. But here is in contrast. Now, you have to remember, again, like you said, this game has been in development 8 years. In contrast, Overwatch, officially revealed November 2024. When did we get a cinematic trailer for it? November 14th, November 2014. Excuse me.
I was about to say, wait a second.
Cinematic trailer, the same day, November 14th, 2014. It launched 2 years later in May 24th, 2016. Now, here's the difference. In between that time of when the cinematic trailer launched in May to the launch of the game, that 3 month period, 29 videos were released on the PlayStation YouTube channel that were highlighting all about Concord, be it getting to know the characters.
You mean Overwatch?
No, Concord.
Oh.
I'm back on Concord, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Between the cinematic trailer in May to its launch in August, they released 29 videos on their YouTube channel that were all about, like, here's this hero, meet this, look at this, here's some gameplay trailer, and different stuff like that. Overwatch, from the time that it dropped its cinematic trailer on November 14th, 2014, until it released in 2016, consistently dropped 67 videos highlighting the characters, giving us those 4 different cinematic experiences for like Winston, Reaper, Tracer, Soldier 76, as well as developer updates, as well as maps, as well as gameplay footage. We also got a beta of Overwatch in there. So here is what I think is the big problem. For these hero shooters to work, you have to actually like the heroes. You have to like the characters. And I think budget development time aside, for a hero shooter to be... I wrote this stuff down so I can remember this. Budget development time aside, for a hero shooter to be successful, the gameplay has to be good, yes, but you also have to buy into the characters that you're playing. Overwatch achieved that in spades, using the time between announcement and release to drip feed plenty of lore and info about what makes up Overwatch and what drives the heroes that you're playing. By the time the game released, we knew these characters, knew who we wanted to main, and were bought into the world. Concord tried to rush that in 3 months, basically.
Yeah.
And I just think for a brand new IP that no one had really been able to know anything about yet at that point, I just don't think that was enough time for someone to be like, you know what? I'm going to throw my $40 behind this and I want to get invested.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, it's just baffling. Like, I don't know who this is. So let's backtrack just a little bit and confirm that Firewalker Studio was acquired by Sony specifically for them to continue making this game for Sony.
Yes.
So I wonder, like, who was sort of in charge of those high-level marketing moves? Was it more the side on Sony, or was that all in-house with Firewalker? Because it does seem like it was a bit of a blunder.
I mean, I don't know. Again, not knowing in the inner works and not knowing how that stuff is, you assume kind of that stuff and like why it didn't maybe try to change to include some things or do some things different. That does feel more that it's a Sony thing. Maybe it took that long for the game to really get nailed down to be what they wanted it to be, where they felt comfortable sharing what it was. Because, that's happened a bajillion times too, that you see their intro trailer and then you're like, oh, this looks cool. And then by the time it actually comes out, you're like, what is this?
And that's something that I feel like very deeply in a lot of gamers, like, guts right now, is when you have a super short marketing window like that, it kind of I feel like it makes me nervous because it makes me think, wait, it makes me feel like the studio isn't confident in their product.
It's exactly what happened with Hellblade 2.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing. We were nervous and the game came out and got like fairly good reviews. We haven't had a chance to play through it yet, but like that was worrisome and it was inducing some fear in us of, is Ninja Theory going to make it, kind of thing. And so I think maybe it's a kind of thing they're like, we got to have everybody's attention spans. Everybody's attention spans are so short these days. We got to just hit them with it right out the gap. But I don't think that works. And I think how Overwatch did it, and Blizzard has had that ability with all of its stuff, to like be able to get these big characters out of games that really, it's like huge MMOs, Blizzard, Diablo, stuff like that. You like still remember these characters and stuff like that. And I just feel like Blizzard, has a really good track record of that. And I feel like they were able to capitalize on that. And I just don't understand why.
They seem to be a lot better at cultivating atmosphere.
Exactly. And I think that's what's missing, is that there wasn't the atmosphere. People weren't able to be bought into Concord. And I just think it ultimately just kind of fell flat, because Helldivers even is there had been a previous game, Helldivers 1, so I know that got people excited, and its premise is just simple video game fun of like, there are aliens and bugs and robots, and you make them go boom.
That's the other thing, is in a lot of ways I feel like Helldivers 2 was somewhat better timed in terms of its actual content.
Yeah.
Because for the time span, like in comparison to the other types of live service games that are coming out around that same time, there's not really another Helldivers 2.
No.
Like, it kind of stands alone in its own category. Whereas with Concord, I mean, whether you love it or hate it, it's competing directly with Overwatch 2 and Valorant.
Yep.
So it's got some other big established heavy hitters in that category that are free to play.
Yeah.
So getting that new IP to catch interest enough for people to be willing to invest their $40, try it out, and hopefully like it, I feel like that's a bit much of an ask.
Yeah. And so I don't think, though, like anybody could have expected it to be this fall this flat.
My final thought on it is I do kind of feel like Sony is pulling the plug too early. I agree that its launch is disastrous. It might never get better, but it has literally only been 2 weeks. And I feel like that's honestly not giving it a fair shot.
Like a month at least.
Yeah, at least give it a month. Because like you said, a lot of the initial reviews from people that have actually played the game are, this is good.
Yeah.
They're not saying that it's terrible, that it's the worst game they've ever played.
And we can't speak to that because we haven't played it yet.
But the general mood in the room seems to be it's not breaking the mold, which is probably working against it. It's not really doing enough new to entice players to give it a try. What it is doing, it does well enough, but not to an extent that people are willing to leave one live service behind and try this new one instead. Because in addition to the financial commitment, it's just the time commitment, man.
Yeah.
We both love Tekken 8. We barely have enough time to play Tekken 8 with our friends online.
It's true. We get like one night a month.
Yeah, and that game rules. So it's a big ask to ask people to invest that much time and money in an unproven IP like that.
Yep. So it remains to be seen what is going to happen with the actual, like, is it going to be truly dead? Will they revive it as free to play? Who knows? Hopefully so.
I hope they give it another try.
I hope they give it a shot with the free to play because, like, you got to try to make up the money back at some point, or else, yes, we're going to be watching the studio get shut down.
I am very concerned for the fate of Firewalker.
I am too. I'm very concerned for that too. So hopefully that isn't the case, and hopefully they'll be able to turn it around, give it the good old No Man's Sky treatment, maybe, but it remains to be seen.
We saw one studio do it one time, and that's why they call it the No Man's Sky.
And we give it, and it just gives us hope.
Literally, no one else has recovered the way that No Man's Sky has. But that is to say, maybe they could. Maybe they could recover.
Maybe they could. So best of luck to you.
Yeah, good. Godspeed.
Godspeed indeed.
Jeez.
But let's move on then to the main topic of the day, which is one that I'm very excited about.
It's a meaty topic for Jerrett.
It is quasi-meaty topic, just because I feel like it's my first impressions of Star Wars Outlaws. It came out last Friday on August 30th. 30th. And it was Labor Day weekend. We were traveling, so I didn't get as much time into it before.
The PS5 is notoriously not easy to travel with. Not really carry
and I even took my Portal, but like there was never time to like get into to pull it out and play along and stuff like that. Exactly.
Whatever.
I tried once and it was already like 11 o'clock and I was just
and
like,
this is the kind of game that knowing you want to really get
for sure.
like have those flat butt gaming sessions.
Big old flat butt gaming sessions. Exactly. So I am about 10 hours in, or am 10 hours into the game so far. And it has given me a good feel of, kind of how the story is going to flow, obviously the gameplay, and just kind of what to expect from Ubisoft's first entry into Star Wars games, which is very exciting. Actually, this is the first Star Wars game that's not EA in like a hell of a long time. So
actually, why is that?
Because EA held the exclusivity
on the license.
And then after 2017, after Battlefront 2, after Battlefront 2 came out and that had its kind of like disastrous stuff with all of its microtransactions and everything like that, I believe Disney was like, let's see what everybody else has got out there.
Oh, Disney took their ball elsewhere.
But they didn't fully, because like obviously EA is still doing the Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order series and stuff like that. They'll probably, I wouldn't be surprised if another Battlefront came out at some point or some other variation of something like that. But so for now, it's Ubisoft's turn, and they took and their game is Star Wars Outlaws to be the first open world Star Wars game. And I pretty much stayed radio silent on it outside of the first like cinematic trailer or announcement trailer. Saw that gameplay footage. I believe it was at it was an E3 or some big showcase, maybe the Game Awards and stuff like that of last year. And I saw that, and then I watched the story trailer when that came out. And after that, I was pretty much like, nope, I don't need to see anything else. This looks great. And I just couldn't wait for the game to come out. And so it has. Basically, this game, you take the role of Kay Vess and her adorable little companion, Nyx, who is the best. And if anything happens to him in this game, I will burn it and everyone and everyone involved.
Is it Nix?
Yeah.
Okay, Nix.
He's like this little like dog lizard guy. He's so cute.
He kind of looks like an axolotl crossed with a cat.
Yeah, pretty much. And so you are.
He is very cute.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's so good. He like you can use him to go distract your enemies and stuff, and he like jumps and like rolls on his back. He's like
he's an alternative Toothless.
Oh yeah,
he's a Toothless reskin.
That's true.
But smaller and with no wings. That's why he's so cute. Goodness. Oh, he's bigger in game than I thought he is. Is that how big he is compared to her?
No.
Oh, that's
they messed with that photo.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah.
I was looking at the perspective.
He
Was
like
wrong.
rides on your back. He looks about the size of like BD1, from Jedi Fallen Order and stuff like that. But Kves is kind of it starts out the game on Canto Bight, which if you'll recall, Canto Bight is the planet, like casino planet that's in The Last Jedi. And this game is set in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So it's in the original trilogy timeline. And you start off and you're just kind of like you're not like a criminal, but you're just kind of like smuggler, scoundrel type person looking for a job, looking for various things to do to like make some money.
You're not gainfully employed as far as the Empire is concerned.
Exactly. You're more dealing with the criminal factions of the Star Wars universe, which are in this game so far the Pikes, the Crimson Dawn, and the Hutts. And so it's really cool. You go through this, you wind up getting off planet because you get through. I'm not going to really talk about the story events much because I am only so early into it. This is more focusing on the, mechanics and gameplay and different stuff like that I've experienced so far. But the beginning of the story does kick off really well. Like they introduce the big bad Slero, who is in he's in the like trailers and everything like that. And he immediately sets him up as kind of like a really solid new player into the criminal underworld. And so he was really cool to get to see. And basically, you wind up through a series of events having a run-in with Slero, and you wind up stealing his ship and hitting his speeder, and you crash land on another planet. And that's where I'm currently at now, and getting that, and just kind of in the more entry stages of the game, getting your ship repaired and where you can have it and be using it for space travel and different stuff like that. But so what's really interesting about this game immediately, like as soon as I started playing it and was walking around in the different environments, I was like, oh man, I can tell this is an Ubisoft game. It feels like I'm playing an Assassin's Creed, but Star Wars skinned. And that's not bad because especially the more recent ones like Assassin's Creed Mirage, actually I feel a lot of influences from kind of how they designed the gameplay and stuff like that from Mirage carry over into Star Wars Outlaws.
And you liked Mirage pretty well.
Oh yeah, it was great. Yeah. Platinumed it.
Oh my
God. It was great. I'm going to platinum this one too because I'm having a good time with it. But you can feel it because just like in how you're navigating through the city, there's some like pickpocketing stuff you can do, and it's really fun because you use Nix for all of that stuff as opposed to doing it yourself. You can like hold down L1, and then you can usually see quite a bevy of options for you to pick from, either from stealing from someone, you can have him attack like a guard or something like that, you can have him distracted, you could use him to like push buttons to open doors or like crawl through vents to go get a door that's behind like a force field or something like that. He's very useful and he's willing to help at all times and he loves it.
Does Nix talk or is this like a Pikachu situation?
It's a Pikachu situation.
Good, thank God.
No talking.
Not Detective Pikachu, the normal Pikachu.
And so you're kind of going through, and the base parts of the game so far have been going around doing various missions for these syndicates because that's the only way you're going to get enough money to get off world, get your ship fixed, and probably keep running from Slero is if it kind of seems how everything is going.
So I also really didn't pay attention to any of the Star Wars trailers because, to be honest, my interest level was pretty low.
Yeah.
But based on the name Slero, I was not expecting a normal-looking human man.
I liked his design because he kind of looks like a medieval lord. Like,
he does.
He has like the fur, like cowl or not cowl, but just like cape thing on and stuff like that.
The capelet.
Yeah, and so he looks pretty solid. And the opening scene with him immediately is like, oh, he's pretty harsh.
I was definitely
he's going to rule with a firm hand.
I was definitely expecting more of like a lizard man. Based on that name.
So, but that's been pretty fun getting to see all that. The story so far, I'm enjoying. It is really fun because it's not like this main goal that you're going through, but actually at the moment too, it's also just kind of like it's fun walking around and doing this various stuff because it's such a different lens that you're seeing the Star Wars world through in a game that we haven't seen in a while. Because the last two big ones that are comparable like this are the Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor games. And in that, you're a Jedi. You're on the run. So you're pretty much alone unless you're like in areas where you're actually fighting enemies. This one, you're walking through cities. You're going into cantinas. You're going into like the underworld areas where it's a little darker and seedier.
And you don't have the knowledge, the safety net of knowing that you can bust out your force powers with your lightsaber.
Exactly. So you're having to rely a lot more on your like street knowledge, your cred. So it's really cool.
Smarts.
You're street smart. So that's why it's really fun getting to use
street smarts.
So that's why it's so fun getting to use Nyx to like do all this stuff, because it's sneaky, but it's also really fun too, because it's like you can tell him to go do the steal option and he'll like run up, steal it, but you have to hit L1 again. But you can like keep walking. It's not like a tied down thing. You can play it cool, play it chill. It's just really nice. But I'm just loving seeing and getting to live in a Star Wars world that's not from the perspective of a Jedi. Yeah. And so that's like a really new, fun, fresh bit of air.
Can Nyx fail at tasks?
If you don't hit the secondary thing.
Okay. So if you like got distracted, you would fail a thievery or something.
That actually happened because I was trying to use him to trigger a detonation on an explosive barrel. And you have to, with those, like he climbs up on it and then you have to hit L1 like 6 times because he goes like, and like scratches at it to like make it start.
Wow. Very high-tech solution.
So I was trying to like time it where I could have him do the explosion and I could start shooting at some guys at the same time. And I started shooting first and realized I couldn't hit the button at the other time. And so the time passed and he just hopped off. Nothing happens to him and everything like that, but it's still just, it's fun to get to do it. But the big promise of this game is obviously that it's open world. And I will say, kind of at this moment where I'm in it right now, it is definitely that, but also isn't seemingly hugely more open world than like Jedi Survivor was. Like Jedi Survivor had a few planets that you get to explore, and on those, a pretty hefty chunk of map that you get to explore. And yes, it is very linear in its like directions, and now it's like if you get set on a path, you're probably going to finish that path. And, you need to take a very specific path to get from A to B, different stuff like that. But it's still wide, expansive, plenty of places to go travel around and explore. You hopped on those, like, I forget what their real name are, but like Chocobo-esque, creatures that you could
the
ride
Star Wars Chocobo.
in Jedi Survivor, and you still got to go around. In this one, Kay has her speeder, and you get to you can call it at any time. It's kind of like, your mount, basically.
I do remember that from the trailers,
Yeah.
is that the speeder was a big deal.
And the speeder is so fucking fun. Like, it feels so good when you I just got the upgrade to give the speed boost, and you really feel it.
Nice.
And it's got like a really, great sound design to it too. It's really fun to just be like cruising along, going through the grassy fields, over water, everything, taking jumps. It's great. I love flying around in this.
Doing some sick SSX tricky
Hell
stunts.
yes.
Yeah.
But so it's really been fun getting to explore this. And I'm interested to see, and I have had the experience already in the time that I spent of getting to take the ship after you get it fixed and getting to fly, run up into it, get in it, fly up into space. And then you're immediately in space doing like some dogfights, flying around up in there. That was very cool. And I was like, oh man, it's one thing you see it in like the gameplay videos and the reveals, and you're like, oh, that's a cool thing. But then you're also, at least for me, in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, but like that kind of happens in Jedi Survivor. You pick where you're going to go next. You're on board your ship. You pick on your holotable map which planet you're going to go to next. You jump into your seat and you go, and it like shows you taking you into hyperspace, a little cutscene of you coming back and landing and stuff like that. But I will say it hits different when you get to just do that and you're playing it and like going up through the cloud cover, and then you're just in space and get to fly around and do stuff like that. Very, very fun. So all of that stuff and like kind of this promise of like stuff to do and things to explore, there is a ton of that. There are also random world events that you'll come across. Like you'll overhear on an Imperial scanner that like those a pirate raid who stole some shipments. We're coming to intercept and steal it back. So you're like, oh, cool. If I can get there in like the next 15 seconds and take these dudes out, I can steal their stuff out from under the Imperials before the Imperials show up.
Smart.
Or you can stick around, let them fight it out, pick off the remaining Imperials or pirates, whoever's left, and then steal this stuff.
Nice.
It's very kind of fun how you can kind of have these different things. Let's see. One of the other things, and this is actually one that is kind of it's a choice that it took a second to get used to. With the design of the game, but I think I'm in it now, and it's not throwing me off as much. But it starts off the game in a 21:9 aspect ratio, so like if you're playing it on normal TV, black bars top and bottom.
Oh.
Which I was kind of like, when it first started off, I was like, oh, interesting. And I don't know if I like that. And I changed it because like if you were playing like on a ultra wide like this, it would fill the whole thing. And everything like that, which would look incredible, I'm sure. You can adjust it to be full screen, so it actually fills your whole TV, and then you can like adjust. You have to then adjust some of the settings for like the interface to maybe not make the buttons as big and stuff like that. And I played for a little bit with it on the full screen mode, but then I kind of just felt like it didn't like something felt off about it. Like either like the framing, just kind of like how everything kind of looked on screen. I was like, I feel like they gave you this option, but they really want you to play it the other way.
Yeah.
So I switched, and it's just an interesting choice because especially like if you're on PC, there's a good chance you might have like a bigger ultra wide monitor or something like that where it can really benefit from that. But if the majority of the people are playing it still on like a console where you're going to be hooked up to a TV, I was kind of like, oh, interesting to buck the norm of like the standard, like, 4K 16:9 resolution and to go with the 21:9. But anyway, I digress. It was just an interesting choice, a design choice. But now that I've gotten used to it and spent more time in it, I will say it's kind of fun. It gives it like a more, cinematic quality. I'll use that word.
Sometimes there's just not a better word.
Not a better word.
Sometimes it's like you're playing Dune.
Yeah, and so it's definitely that, and I've gotten used to it, but it definitely took a second. So I would just kind of like mention that as something to be kind of aware of. One of the big other things too, you'll like this actually.
Wait, can I guess what it is?
I don't think you can, but sure. Give it a shot.
I was going to guess romances.
Oh, no, not yet at least.
Okay,
maybe.
all right, well.
I haven't run into any romances yet. But another big thing that is very much a Ubisoft influence that I feel like is there's some like lock picking stuff or like doing some like, being stealthy and all that stuff. And Kay, being the like rogue scoundrel she has a data stick or data pick that she actually uses like in the bun of her hair.
Oh, cute.
And stuff. But then when she pulls it out to like break into doors and stuff like that, it's actually a very tiny rhythm game.
Oh, that rules. Yeah. I never would have guessed that.
There's a little like two lights and the like locking mechanism. And once you stick your data spike in, goes like doodle beep, 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 and like spins around and you have to like time it and hit R2 with the timing of the beeps.
That's cute.
To unlock the door.
I like that a lot.
And it's that for doors, chests, not everything, but like for a great bit. And it's also very fun because like, say you're trying to be sneaky and break into a criminal hiding spot and you're trying to do, say, a no-kill stealth run of this particular mission. And you're trying to bust into a door, but you have like a very limited amount of time from the distraction that you set up that pulled the guards away. Oh. And you're sitting over here sweating, trying to get this timing right of this mechanism. Yep. It's really fun and kind of adds for like a little bit of extra like tenseness, and intensity into some of the stealth options of the game.
That's also, I feel like, a really good sci-fi solution to ye old Skyrim style lockpicking. Yeah. Because obviously, they wouldn't be using traditional lockpicks like we know. So that's that. And I like that it's not the way Nier Automata sort of does the hacking, where it's like a bullet hell event. I feel like that's a great middle ground for, hey, unlock these locks in space and have it be kind of fun and cool. Like a little mini game, a little treat for you.
It really is. And it's pretty fun. And there's also like some splicing that you can do, like hacking into actual computers, which is different. It's more of like it's actually Wordle-esque, where it's like you have like 3 to 5, like a row of 3 to 5 squares, and then a certain amount of like rows beneath it. And there are all these symbols off to the side, and you have to find the right combination. Oh. And each one, it'll be like X if it's wrong. It'll be the thing in yellow if it's in the wrong position, or green if it's in the right position.
You know what? Honestly, great ripoff. What a great idea.
It's very fun.
Love that shit.
And it's a fun little like cool like hacky way. It feels how they set it up on the interface of the computers. It feels very Star Wars. And so it's just really, really fun having these little mini things to do. So that's what I mean. There's tons of stuff outside of this main story. In fact, that's kind of why I'm kind of like, I don't have much to say on the main story because
you've been busy dicking around.
Tried and true, Jarrett, in an open world game like this, yes, I'm dicking around doing all the side quests. I'm not getting to this main story.
No, not anytime soon.
And I honestly was like, man, I'm going to keep doing all this different stuff. And I was like, no, wait, I have to at least get to space and try out some of the space stuff before I do my first impressions. I can't be up here just being like, oh, I haven't even done that yet.
He did text me and he was like, can I have another day?
I need another day, please.
Now, he didn't specify because he hadn't made it into space yet, but now I know.
I just needed more time with it for sure.
More time.
One of the other things about it, because obviously you're working with all of these different syndicates and everything like that, and obviously they're kind of they're competing against each other, so you're kind of caught in the middle of all this, which means that there's a reputation system built in.
Oh,
and it's very cool because some actions that you take will increase your standing with a certain syndicate, but at the same time decrease your standing with another one. Or your actions can be completely separate from each other and they don't intertwine, and you just like gain straight reputation with one of the syndicates. When that happens, that gives you various benefits, like they won't shoot you on sight if you go into one of their controlled districts.
How nice.
You can get discounts at merchants in their controlled districts.
Very nice.
You can get some cosmetic rewards or different rewards. Like I got a really sweet like pistol blaster skin, like kind of a white and gold one, or like a black and gold one too. Very cool.
Fancy.
And so you get all these different things. If you get a syndicate going bad, where you have a bad reputation, they will be more aggressive to you. They will kind of tend to shoot on sight depending on how far down you are, and their merchants hike up the prices, so it gets more expensive.
Oh, that sucks.
So it's kind of
the
like
inflation. Even
really
in Star
is.
Wars, you can't escape it.
But it's very fun because then it's obviously you can kind of like pick which syndicate you want to be the favorite to.
Yeah.
Like so far, I'm gonna fuck over the Hutts so hard.
Nice.
But I've been allying a little bit more with Crimson Dawn, just because I think they're kind of cool. And I have a feeling it happens that you meet her, Kira, who is Han Solo's love interest in Solo.
Yes.
She takes over Crimson Dawn at the end of that movie. So I'm hoping you might get to see her and she pops in later. I have had a couple things spoiled, though. Like, I'm trying to avoid it because I have had another character who pops up later in the game spoiled by a trophy. And I was like, God damn it. Put that in hidden. Hide that trophy.
That sucks.
And it's honestly one of those things that I probably would have known. This character shows up had I watched more of the marketing video, the videos and stuff that they talked about and everything.
Is it someone I can guess?
Yeah, probably.
Lando.
Yeah.
Because it's always fucking Lando.
I mean, I should have assumed that too because it's like a scoundrel smuggler story and everything like that.
They will take any available chance to shoehorn specifically Lando into whatever they can.
So yeah, I saw that in a trophy and I was like, well, God damn it, I can't look at these trophies yet. But so anyway, what am I doing? The reputation system. It's very fun. You know, not a new system by any means. Like there have been reputation systems in tons of games, but it's still fun to see it in this and to kind of like have it as more of a, in a Star Wars realm too. Because normally I feel like that sticks more to like the KOTORs and stuff like that, the like heavy RPG where they're like, you can be bad, you can be good. Then let's see, what else we got? Like I said, going around in space feels really great. The controls up there feel really good. Still getting kind of a hang of the combat. But there's even more stuff to explore up there. It's not like you just go up there and then, jet off to your next thing. There's usually, you can scan around, find some other areas of interest, even in space to explore, kind of like what you do in the ground.
I have some questions.
Sure.
So when you get a ship and you get into space, are there any like management aspects of your ship can get damaged and you have to repair it? Do you have to like watch your fuel, for example?
Not
what's that
necessarily.
like?
Not that I feel like you can buy ship upgrades at like merchants and everything like that. You can also upgrade your blaster. You can upgrade your speeder in various ways too. But no, I don't think there's and yes, you'll take damage during combat and stuff like that. But I've also like straight up fully rammed into something in space and I didn't blow up. So,
okay, that's lame. I think you should have blown up.
Although I'll take it. Woo!
Goodness.
Choking on something.
While Jarrett's choking, I'll just say that in Dredge, the fishing game, if your boat even lightly banged into a rock, you would instantly sink. And I feel like that should be the case in Star Wars.
Well, that's what it usually is in like Star Wars Squadrons, the like only space-based one.
Yeah.
If you lightly scraped an asteroid or any kind of debris, you're blowing up. So I'm kind of honestly okay with the fact that it's only that you can take a little bit more damage and it like has a little bit bigger
Star
buffer.
Wars hard again.
So I know there is like a repair mechanic, like you can hit a button like if you're getting beat up in space, like maybe after a dogfight and stuff like that. But not as much like, okay, you got to go land and like do repairs and different stuff like that.
That's kind of what I was
at least at this point.
about.
Maybe I just haven't got there yet.
Maybe later on you accidentally get a ship downgrade and then you have to go do the other shit.
Maybe so. You also have a bunch of abilities that you can unlock, typical skill trees and different stuff like that. But I do like in this one, those abilities are given to you by like specialist crew members or like that you can unlock and find throughout by doing quests and stuff in the world.
Like you recruit them?
kind of. And then after you complete a certain amount of tasks, you will unlock an ability that they offer.
So they you kind of build a little relationship with them,
Yeah.
and then they teach you something cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of cool. I
So
like
it's
that.
kind of a fun way, other than it just being like, you got skill points.
It's not
Here's
just,
the tree.
That's
Yeah.
that's a good different way to think about that, because that's exactly what I'm doing in Dragon Age right now.
Yeah, there is a lot of
fucking skill tree,
a
the skill
lot of
points.
That, a lot of that in Dragon Age for sure. But that was the stuff that I'm really loving in it. Like I said, the immersive factor of really getting to be in a Star Wars world, and it's like a new planet. I know I posted a picture in the photo mode channel over in Discord, and it's just again, beautiful vistas, great design of these worlds, and it's just really fun to go fly around on your speeder and discover what you can find. And it's been a lot of great moments have happened already just through doing that.
Would you say, just pure visually, pure graphics, would you say that it is as good, worse, or slightly better, in your personal opinion, than Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and whatever the one before that was?
I will say it is maybe slightly less, only because Fallen Order and Survivor, because they
Survivor,
are a
gosh.
bit more focused in in everything, I will say they're able to give more care to animation, facial animations and stuff like that during cutscenes. They're not bad in Outlaws. In fact, even just normal character conversations that you'll have with people you meet on the street. I actually said that was one of my knocks in Assassin's Creed Mirage, where I was like, oh man, you go and talk to somebody just on the street and it feels really stilted and rough. And that's not necessarily the case in Outlaws. It's not full, like it would be, say, a cutscene with Aloy or something like that, or Cal Kestis in the Jedi in Fallen Order or Survivor. But still, I mean, for Kay, yes, but I'm butchering this. It's not as good, but you can tell why, because they had to spread the assets a little bit more across a bigger and more
project.
resources.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I was more asking from the perspective of, in the photo mode channel on the Discord, I just remember all of your incredible Fallen Order and
Yeah.
Survivor landscape photos specifically.
Oh,
And
there's going to be some more Outlaws
They were
ones.
so beautiful. I was just curious to know if this game was meeting that standard.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm definitely rolling around and oh, I'm going to take a picture here. I'm going to do this here, because there's just some incredible scenery and views, and just the
I've
the
seen
design
enough
is great.
wonky face animations that I'm pretty immune to that by now.
And it's not something that's
but
yeah,
it's
like
more
it's
the vistas.
Yeah.
It's the beautiful
Yeah.
vistas that I care about.
And I'm even playing it on the, you can choose on PS5 games to play it and the performance or quality. I'm playing it on the quality one, so I'm getting the lower frame rate, but it plays great.
Okay.
And it's not the same thing where it's with Fallen Order or Survivor, because those are more Soulsborne-esque. You want those extra frames. You wanted that quick snapping and everything like that. But if this, you're predominantly doing more ranged combat with your blaster and different stuff like that. So it's not as noticeable, I'd say, in the difference of frame rate. I don't really notice that stuff much anyway, but or it doesn't hang me up that much on it anyway. But just something to be aware of. It looks fantastic. I'm having a good time with that.
So what is Kay's sort of combat kit like? Speaking of her blaster stuff, what else does she have available to her?
She can do her. She does have her blaster. She has Nyx. He can distract, jump up and jump on somebody's face and be clawing at him, and so it allows Kay to run up and punch him and knock him out for a stealth takedown.
Okay.
Her blaster also has a rechargeable stun bolt, so you can stun somebody and just a non-lethal takedown. Then that has to recharge for a little bit before you can use it again.
I like that.
You can also upgrade your blaster to have different attachments to it. So there's the normal plasma, red laser that you normally see comes
Then
out of the
we've
gun
got the dick
for lethal.
obliterator.
Then there's
They really got creative with it.
The ion one that's used to neutralize electronics and different stuff like that. And there's a couple others too that I don't think I've unlocked.
The plasma rifle from Unreal Tournament. They've got all
Just makes
kinds
them
of
go
fun
boom
stuff.
and explode in a red mist. But no, it doesn't do that.
God, I wish.
I know, that'd be awesome. But so that does actually bring up one of my cons that I have about this. Throughout combat, when you're fighting either pirates, one of the syndicates, or because that's the thing, even though you're working for them and doing things for them off and on, you can still fight the different syndicates, even the ones you're working on and all this stuff.
Hilarious.
Your loyalties change throughout the game and everything, but that's how they play the game too. So nobody really holds it against you. But either based off the reputation system, you can make it back if you made them too mad. It's not a big deal.
Just buy him a little birthday present. Sweep it all under the rug.
Exactly. But one of the things, though, is when you are fighting other enemies, say you're fighting a stormtrooper, you kill him, he drops his normal stormtrooper blaster. You can run over and pick that up. And once it runs out of ammo, it depletes and you drop it and you can pick up another one. That, though, is one of the cons in that you don't get to store it if you don't use up all the ammo in that fight.
You
can carry it with you. Yeah, you can carry it for as long as you want, but if you hop on your speeder, hop off a ledge, it drops.
Wow, even just hopping off ledges?
Yeah.
Brutal.
Which I'm kind of like, I would love a way to like be able to hold on to it. I understand having like the limited ammo capacity and you got to drop it and pick up something else, but it is kind of frustrating where it's like say sometimes there'll be like scout troopers who have a sniper rifle on top of a tower. They're like the last person you kill in a fight. And then you don't get to use their sniper rifle. But like, I kind of want to use the sniper rifle because it's cool to use.
Does she not have like a utility tool belt full
I guess
of
not.
carabiners that she can just snap them onto?
No, not really. And I guess it's kind of a thing. It's like you're just using the resources that you have around you rather than just being this like completely armored and like equipped killing machine.
Which that does make sense.
That does kind of fit into the character.
thematically.
And so like, I'm okay with it, but it also is sometimes frustrating. It's like, I wish I could use something else other than just my blaster. But you still get to use those weapons, but just kind of wish they had a little bit more longevity to it.
Gotcha.
I did mention those world events, like the pirate raids. At first I was like, oh, these are kind of random and this is cool. But I did keep passing those areas sometimes and they would repeat. So I was like, okay, I do kind of wish that there was a little bit more randomness
totally
to that.
random.
Or that they didn't happen or reoccur so often.
Gotcha.
That would be kind of nice. Like I said, I did mention that I did say the 21:9 aspect ratio. As a con, like I said, I'm getting used to it, but it still was kind of like, oh, this is different, and kind of took me a second to get used to.
It is an interesting choice, especially in the context of, I feel like you're right in that most gamers will not have a screen that matches that aspect ratio. So an interesting choice, and perhaps not a good one.
One of the other things, and this is more of a me thing, I did do one of the first like hard, like straight stealth missions, really, and I was not good at it.
So when you're stealthing around, like, are there visual or audio cues to let you know how well you're stealthing?
Yes. If an enemy takes notice of you, they will get a yellow question mark warning label like floating above their head, and you'll see that. If they go to attack you, it turns red.
Gotcha.
But in this specific mission, you were in an Imperial facility, and you could not raise the alarm. But you're having to go through. You're like going across the docking bay, so there's tons of people walking around, and man, just even in those first few areas, and there were also multiple pathways. Like you weren't tied. Again, it's the open world part, which makes it good. But I picked the wrong paths like so many times, and then the path that I should have picked was obvious, but for a very dumb reason, I just didn't. I didn't take it, thinking that I was like, no, that's the way it wants me to go. There's another way.
Jerrett.
And so that kind of just threw me off. But it was cool, though, still that it was like,
boy.
and there were rewards. Like there were chests with various things and resources that I needed for crafting and whatnot. So it wasn't like it was wasted time, but it was also like, oh, okay, this is not necessary. There are multiple ways I could do this with varying ranges of difficulty, which is cool. And I just think it's going to take me a little bit more time to get used to implementing all of the different stealth options, because you actually do, while it's a con that it's taking me a time to learn it, I think you would like it because the stealth stuff, there's actually quite a bit at your disposal because of like your stun blaster shot, your ability for like melee takedowns to knock people out, using nicks to like distract people. There's actually quite a bit in your arsenal specifically to like help with stealth. Like Nyx can detonate, explosive barrels. He can detonate smoke barrels to like kind of help protect you.
Okay.
He can, like I said, activate or deactivate doors that you need without you actually having to stand there and push the button to like
very helpful,
keeping you out in cover and different stuff like that. So
can Nyx play the rhythm game?
No, unfortunately not. But so it's just very cool having like all these different things, and it's like, okay, looking back, hindsight being 2020, I'm like, I need to do better at this. So it's really kind of like the challenge of like, all right, how can I be better about looking in, taking in all the surrounding environment and knowing what I can use to actually be stealthy and different stuff.
Gotcha.
Like that.
I do like the sound of that. Obviously, I love stealth. So, and it does sound very Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to see them repurposing those same sort of style cues, but in a totally different context.
Yeah, because obviously like this one, well, I will say Valhalla kind of had a more open combat style that I feel like kind of like where you could be either like stealth or just straight up balls to the wall
double
combat.
shield turtling.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
And so I kind of feel like Outlaws borrows a little bit more from that playbook on the Assassin's Creed side, that you have the option, but you do have the option to do these things completely stealthy or, guns a-blazing. And so let me see. What else do I have here? I kind of talked about it, but I am somewhat like the open world thing is kind of like, okay, I need to see a little more how this is like truly open world. Cause like I've noticed some distinctions and stuff from like Survivor, but like I said, Survivor felt like a pretty open world game. So, just kind of wanting to explore that a little bit more.
Open world with guideposts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my last thing that kind of was a con that I'm just like, it might make K too villainous than what they're wanting, but I feel like a fun addition could have been kind of along with the weapon pickup that you could steal or borrow, however you want to look at it, other speeders and vehicles that you find in the world. You can only ride Ks.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I wish you could when you're walking around in the world and stuff like that, get on or use other people's vehicles and speeders and stuff like that.
So you're saying you can't do that, but you
can't
wish you
do
could.
that. I wish you could.
Sorry.
Because like there's just been areas because like sure I can, regardless of what I'm doing, call in and summon her speeder and it'll be right there and I can hop on and go. But like there's something about like running out of a canteen or something, having a gunfight, seeing a speeder to your left and you just jump on it and go. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
It's kind of that thing. And maybe they're kind of like, okay, we don't want this being too Grand Theft Auto kind of a thing. But it's kind of interesting that like there are times that I've experienced in playing that I'm kind of like, it would be really great if I could like jump on this speeder rather than have to like, do the lame thing of call my own speeder.
Call my own speeder.
And jet away.
What is this, Uber?
So, overall, really, I'm having a really great time. And like I said, it's great having a Star Wars game that's from a non-Jedi perspective. It just allows you to explore the world more and in a different way. Like one of the places I was walking through a cantina and like a stormtrooper just walks by me. And it was just like, no big deal. But like if in one of the other games, that you'd be like, oh,
yeah,
gotta be careful, or you wouldn't even be in that place in the first place, So it's just kind of interesting getting to see this more lived in, I guess, view of Star Wars and stuff like that.
What is Kay's personality like? Because I know that you've described her as a bit of a rogue, but does she sort of have that like quippy, sarcastic sort of personality, or is she a little bit more chill? Like what's she like?
I'd say not straight copy, but like Han Solo-esque. Like she's witty, she quips, but it's not like everything she says is a joke, and it's not like everything is, it's gonna be fine. Just
because
like
that is something I was worried about, because I feel like a lot of protagonists these days are kind of leaning too hard into the like irreverent sarcasm.
Yeah, and it's so far it's not that.
Okay,
she has like that like attitude about her, but not overbearing or anything where you're just like, okay, quit with the quips.
Not everybody can be Deadpool people.
Yeah,
let's move on.
Yeah,
Get new personalities.
It's not that at all. So I think she's really fun. I'm really enjoying her as a character, and like I said, pairing her with Nyx and just the possibilities that are out there from that pairing has been fantastic so far.
Are there other small, cute droids out in the world that you can steal and just sort of have like a little garden of droids on your ship?
So far, not yet, but who knows?
Unplayable.
Maybe we'll add that later.
0 out of 10.
And then 2, I will admit the story itself hasn't like fully grabbed me or feels as high stakes as like Fallen Order or Survivor did. But I think it's just because I'm still so early on in the story. Like I said, I messed around. I've played the 10 hours, but like really, I probably should be way farther in the story for the 10 hours than I've played because I've done so much side activity stuff. So not necessarily a bad thing, just maybe still a little too early to make any judgments as far as that goes.
Remind me, at this point in the Star Wars timeline, has Darth Vader already blown up Naboo?
Not Naboo, but Alderaan.
Alderaan,
yes.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Not Naboo. Gosh, Alderaan.
Yeah. That's already happened. So this is
so you will not get to explore Alderaan.
No. Maybe the asteroid field that was Alderaan, but I do know. They told you that the timeline being between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, because in the trailers at least, you do go to Jabba's palace at one point, and Han is in carbonite on the wall.
Oh.
So,
Oh, yeah, because we were joking about you going up and licking him like a popsicle stick. I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing I just cannot wait to do.
You just got to get in there and lick the forbidden popsicle. You just got
to do it.
Just take a little chomp out of him.
Lick the Han popsicle. But yeah, I'm having a great time with it so
Nice.
far. Definitely wanting to get more time in it. And once I do wrap it up and, finish up the game, I'll come back and give a full review to see how it really stacks. Because while I've tried to remain, radio silent, like I said, on any thoughts, opinions, and stuff like that. Like I have seen some feedback about it and just things that people not necessarily greeting it with the highest praise. But so far, I'm having a blast with it. It's having a good time. It's filling that Star Wars game hole that I needed filled. And
I don't love the way you phrased that.
I don't either, but
I really wish you had phrased it any other way.
And then ended, and I didn't really have a way to get out of it. But, it is what it is sometimes.
We'll just move on.
Filled that Star Wars hole in my life that I was.
Gotcha. There you go. That was the right phrasing.
And so anyway, it's a great time. I know Kirok's been playing it, and I haven't had really a chance to talk with him much about it because he got the jump on me on when he got started, so we haven't had time to compare.
He also got his fancy sealed whatever edition.
I know that's
it is fancy.
It's going to go in his collection. That's really cool. It's pretty sweet. But yeah, so hopefully I'll get a chance to compare notes with him. And if anyone listening out there has thoughts on Star Wars Outlaws because you've been playing it and love it, hate it, well, I'd love to hear from you and hear what your thoughts on the game are. So please send us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com or jump in the comments or the Discord channel for wherever you're listening to or watching and let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. But I think that pretty much wraps it up. Like I said, only 10 hours in. Still have a lot more to go because it probably is going to be a fairly meaty game on terms of hours. And yeah, I already can tell I'm going to try to platinum it. And so as I experience more, I'll be sure to come back and let you all know.
Well, I can't wait to eventually get the full review with the full story breakdown because God knows I'm probably never going to play the game. and this is the only chance I will have to get familiar with it.
Honestly, at this point, I will probably be at that point. It will be the story breakdown and review because the mechanics I don't see. There might be a few new events or things thrown in, but I imagine I'm 10 hours in. I've probably got the majority of the stuff unlocked in terms of mechanics and systems and different stuff like that. So yeah, the full review will probably focus more on the story.
Are you ready for my hard story predictions?
Yes.
Nyx is more sentient than you think. He, she, it can talk. They betray you and kill you. That's what I think is going to happen.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's my official prediction for the end of Star Wars Outlaws. Nyx is the true outlaw, and you get killed by Nyx.
Just at the end of the game, he just pulls a gun and he's like, peace.
I think that's totally going to happen.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But until then, everybody, keep coming back to Team Chat Podcast for all of your video gaming fun, reviews, news, and, whatever else we're playing and want to talk about. So until then, everybody, we'll see you on the next episode or stream, what have you. Until then, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
We'll see you all next time.